I'm from Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere. Cause get up every time somebody knock you down.
Yo, can you hear us now? Feedback like a mug. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Oh, you know what? I think the problem was this. That should fix it. Can y'all hear us now? If you can hear us, let us know, please. Oh man, that is horrible. I don't know. Seemed like it was just fine earlier. Can y'all hear us now? If you hear us, let us know, please. All this time I've been talking and nobody heard me. That's horrible. All right, so Jelani from YouTube hears us. Great. And if you're on Facebook, let me know if you hear us, please. And y'all missed all that good music, so y'all didn't even hear the fact we shouting out Jonine and Ford Wellness, all that good stuff. Oh, that hurt my feelings right there. That's horrible. All right, but a little bit of echo. We'll fix it. On
Facebook, can you hear us?
I think I know what that's all about, though. Can you hear us still? Can you hear it just fine? I think I took out the echo. I figured out what it was. I got my desktop. Yeah, there we go. All right, so that should take out all my echo. And everything should sound just fine, right? You got to be able to build a plane while flying it. There we go. Facebook, if you can hear us, please tell us something, please. Let us know. So we don't miss anything. But anyway, so yeah, I guess we're kind of like starting over. My bad, y'all. I had my desktop audio on. But anyways, anyways, everybody welcome to the show. It's your boy Jay DaCosta.
It's your girl Kat.
Together we are the Nitty Gritty. So we got that out the way. Nate hears us on Facebook. All right, so we rocking and rolling. So if y'all didn't catch this before, this lovely lady sitting between us is Jonine Ford from Ford Wellness.
Hey.
All right, we're going to be talking a little bit about health. Those that may not know, me and Katrina have recently been on a health journey, a very intense health journey, I would say. And we've had a lot of help right here from this lady sitting between us, Jonine Ford and Ford Wellness. So shout them out. So that's what's up. So we're really excited about that. We're going to talk about some of our health journey. We're going to talk about health in general, kind of trying to disprove some misnomers about health, especially around weight loss. Because a lot of people get so caught up in weight loss, but sometimes there's other things to consider.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Also, we're going to spend some time talking a little bit about the Grammys, and we're going to try to definitely, if we can, fit in some time to talk about these shootings in Atlanta and this Asian hate that's going along. But really what it comes down to, it's just white people hate. That's what it is, and I'm just going to call it what it is. But anyways, let's take care of some take care of some little important little details. First of all, we got to shout out Ford Wellness. Shout out to them, and thank you guys for the results. I like the way I look. I do. We like the way we look. Also, quick current news: stimulus checks hit. Hey, for all those that got it, the mall was got the stimmy. Listen, if you got a stimmy, don't forget you can support the Nitty Gritty Show by going to www.squadlocker.com. Search the Nitty Gritty Show. Got to type in the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest. And you can buy some merch. We got partnerships with Adidas. We got Under Armour. We got Rydell. So all those people that think you fancy, and you be like, well, I only wear nothing but name brand. Cool. We got name brand too. You rock that. Go buy that. Help us out. And then y'all can support Ford Wellness while you're here. Tell them where they can find you, Jonine.
FordWellness.com.
And you can get consultations on your health, meal plans, fitness plans, all of that. All right? Yeah. They said the mall was super crowded. I believe you. Yeah, people got them stimmies. Listen, black folks, y'all got stimmies. Take some of that money is called a stimulus check for a reason. It's to stimulate the economy. I wish it was the help fund or something like that, but it's not really to help people out and pay bills. It's really there just to infuse the economy with things you haven't been able to regularly indulge in because of the pandemic. Cool. Spend some of that money with black business and take some of that money and invest it.
You know, if it was my choice, they should have given us a choice. It should have been, would you like some of your student loans paid off, or would you like a stimulus check? And I definitely would have picked the student loans being paid off.
Yeah, definitely.
That would have been like extremely helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now I know they're still working on the student loans, so God, let's hope that they get something done right, Lord, and let's let it be a significant amount.
Give us something. At this point, I would prefer 30,000, but we know it may not be the case. But if you give me 10,000, Joe and Kamala, I would be happy.
Please, Joe.
Yeah.
Come on, Silver Kamala.
I feel like 30 would be more appropriate, for sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, if you want your comments featured on the show, because we have a live chat available on Facebook and YouTube, join us there, and everyone can see your comments. I love you guys on IG. Brent, I see you. Paul, I see you.
Hey,
we got the DMV and B more in the building. But if you want everybody to see your comments, join us on Facebook or YouTube live, and everyone can see the comments. Yeah, but when the live show actually posts, they only can see them. They can only see the chat from those that chatted on Facebook and on YouTube. We gotta push the Facebook and YouTube presence. We got the show looking all cool. Got the lower thirds. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. So Nate said that McDonald's line was empty. Everybody was fancy this weekend.
McDonald's.
I bet.
Like we got more money.
Yeah. They went to Red Lobster.
We went to Olive Garden.
Man, people still eat at McDonald's, right?
We talking about fitness today, so we're gonna get into that later.
Nate said the 50K off would have been nice. Definitely, I agree with him. Jelani Manzilli said come through. Yeah, so that
People was eating their crabs and their lobsters weekend.
They were.
Paul said the malls were dumb crowded. So like, yeah.
What did you say? I can't see the last comment.
Oh, he said talk about them student loans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, facts. So I already know people, they living it up out there. Okay, Paul, I see you on the YouTube. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? We spending money on software trying to look better. I appreciate it. I really, really do. And then also, for those that might be fans of 1990s rap like me, old head at heart, shout out to Raekwon and Ghostface on Versus. That was super dope last night. I had a good time watching. It was for a niche crowd. It wasn't for everybody. I watch every Versus, first of all. Those that know, I'll be on every Versus. It ain't for everybody, but it was definitely for me. And I enjoyed every bit of it. So shout out to Versus, because I had a good time there watching that. That was very reminiscent of my teenage years. Loved every bit of it. But anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty, because we got Jonine here. So, we're going to get straight into it. We talking fitness tonight, right?
We are. Okay.
Among some other things. But, really, actually, give people, those that may not know, they may not know who Jonine is. Mm-hmm. We know, because you're a regular here. But if you just give people some background on Forward Wellness, like your journey, kind of like why you started the company, because it's a really good story. I think people should know.
Yeah, it's multifaceted. First of all, thank y'all for having me again. I started as a nutrition educator, teaching in public high schools, middle schools about, the ins and outs of the fundamentals of nutrition and how to make good food choices. I think what kind of got me into this field is, a balance between my family history, my parents, grandparents dealing with chronic diseases, and also my own being diagnosed with prediabetes, being diagnosed with high cholesterol at like 23, 24, and I wasn't trying to die. And so I decided to get it together for myself, and then also to help other people in the process. So Forward Wellness, we help people prevent and alleviate chronic diseases through nutrition, fitness, and other integrative health coaching services.
Wow. And I mean, and that story resonates to me, because even in my family, we have history of heart failure. We have some folks that have had issues with diabetes. Yeah. A lot of it is based in how we eat sometimes. And, we get older, activity falls off, things like that. And I appreciate programs like yours where you especially understand the Black dynamic behind some of these health issues, because from one of my understanding, you got all the degrees to back it up, but it seems like a lot of these publications are focused, like the health magazines are focused on white people at a certain age, but sometimes we need to start getting checked, like what they say, like 10 years before. So when they start talking about colon cancer and all that, when those magazines say you should start like in your 40s and 50s, really Black men should start in their 30s. And even when it comes to other issues, it's like Black women would start earlier than what the publications are putting out, because they're focused on their key audience, which typically are white people.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key to really health in general, when you're talking to practitioners, physicians, or whatever, is that they use you as an individual and not, baseline data that is generally skewed towards, white people. Yeah.
So, I mean, so that definitely appreciate it. And then one thing that came up, so to give you guys some background on me and Katrina, we recently went through a health journey where we were, just trying to get in the best shape, the best health of our lives. And we did a challenge through Kick House. That's a gym we go to, a kickboxing gym. They had like a weight loss challenge. But more important than that challenge to me is me and Katrina are getting married. And we're going to be in Cozumel, Mexico, right? And we want to have summer bodies, y'all, because that's the beach, right? People want to wear bathing suits. And, we want to feel good, look good. You know how it is when you're in love. You're going out to eat. You get that relationship weight, things of that nature. And we wanted to, correct some of that. So we started the challenge. But then, most importantly, because we know Jonine, we reached out to Jonine and said, hey, look. We want to sign up for a plan, and we paid, y'all. We wasn't trying to get it for the free. We paid money, right? Because that's what you do with black businesses. You pay. But we were consulted on our diet, additional health plans that help us be more competitive, not just to win the competition, hopefully, but also to look our best in Mexico. And it was a challenge. But I was surprised by some things. One thing I was surprised by in the diet was you allowing us to eat rice and potatoes, because we always hear if you're going to lose weight, like everybody wants to starve themselves. I'm going to drink juice all day. I'm going to go on a water fast. I'm going to drink hot sauce water, as you called it, the cayenne pepper and the lemon. And they think like, I'm just going to eat just meat and veggies. And I was pleasantly surprised when you gave us our meal plan. It's like, oh man, we got roasted, sweet potatoes, and we got rice, and it was like, oh, this ain't gonna be that bad. Like, we will survive through this. This is gonna be cool. Maybe you can help give people the rationale on why it's important to eat carbs and not just leave them alone. Is there such thing as a bad carb? What are good carbs? How do we know? Because most of the time we just say, we ain't gonna eat no bread, no nothing. We just eat oatmeal every morning and eggs. It was like too much food. It felt like sometimes.
Yeah, so I mean, I think carbs get a bad rap, obviously, from all of the crazy diets that are out here and the misconception that carbs make you fat. Carbs can make you fat, but so can everything else, really. I mean, it's all about, the way your body responds to food and how much of it that you're eating and how much physical activity that you're getting. But carbs are not the enemy. What their main job is to do is to give you energy in order to get through your day. They fuel your brain, so they give your brain, glucose so that you can think and focus and function. So they're really important. And to metabolism, to all of that. I think the key is to just know what your body needs. Sometimes you may need help figuring that out. That's what people like me are here for. But yeah, I think that, super duper restriction in the long term is always going to not be in your best interest.
Cause a lot of times, I mean, we're always so stringent, but when you say in the long term, because for instance, you gave us a cheat meal. I didn't expect for us to get a cheat meal. But I remember the rationale you gave behind that was that so that our bodies wouldn't overreact to food.
So sometimes when you're in a caloric deficit, meaning that you're eating less calories than your body requires to maintain your current weight, your metabolism, or the rate at which when I use that, I'm saying the rate at which your body burns fat, will slow down. So if you get a cheat meal, which is usually higher in calories than what you're automatically eating, you let your body know, I don't need to slow down because I'm getting enough food. You know what I mean? So it kind of tricks your body into kind of maintaining a higher metabolic rate.
Oh, okay. And then, Katrina, you went through some things. You got me doing all this talking. I remember you had your little difficulties during this process.
I did.
Things you were surprised by, but then I know a big one being weight in the scale. Y'all should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically I worked out 2 times a day. I got up in the morning, I did kickboxing, and then at night I would do a session of lifting, and then after that I would normally do an hour of cardio of some sort. And so you're talking about, on average, on a good day would be following everything to the T. You're talking about possibly spending 3 hours in the gym.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, at this point, I should definitely be losing like a whole lot of weight, and the scale wasn't really going down. So I would naturally get really frustrated. Like, well, what am I doing wrong that the scale isn't going down? But talking to Jonine, and she was doing my measurements, she was like, but look at how your inches keep decreasing, you know, week after week. Like, that's a really good indicator that you're building muscle. So I guess you could talk to the audience, I guess, about like, you know, why we shouldn't focus so much on the scale, because I really was like concerned that like, is my metabolism, am I something wrong with me? Is my metabolism shot? Like, I don't understand, I'm working so hard. And it got to a point where I can understand the rationale of why somebody would quit. Because you're like, you're working so hard, excuse me, and you don't see any results on the scale. So you're like, at this point, like, maybe I should just accept that I'm just big.
But she wasn't just big. Like, you know, she was getting smaller, but she didn't see it as that because she was looking at the number, which really changed maybe about five pounds. The whole 12, was it 12 weeks? 10 weeks?
10 weeks, yeah.
10 weeks, yeah. Which is a small number if you're only looking at the scale. But the problem with the scale is that it only factors in body weight. That's the only factor. It doesn't factor in body fat percentage. It doesn't factor in the amount of muscle that you have. And Katrina, the way her body is made, she builds muscle very quickly. And as you know, like, you know, muscle is like weighs more than body fat does. So she's putting on muscle and also losing fat. It may appear that she's not losing any weight when in fact, how many pounds was it that you lost in body fat? Like 15 or something like that?
Yeah.
It was she lost a lot of fat pounds, but she also gained like 10 pounds of muscle in that little bit of 10 weeks, which is super insane. Like, I wish I can get her to compete. Because that's like, she's like a freak of nature when it comes to like, you know, putting on muscle and maintaining that muscle during hard and heavy periods of work. But yeah, so you have to look. I have all of my clients do multiple ways of checking their progress. So I do have them check their scale weight, but not just that. The only reason I have them do that is so that I can use that to calculate their body fat percentage. And then I also have them do, you know, measurements so they can see like, okay, if my scale went down 0.2, which, you know, sometimes it happens, but my inches went down 2 inches on my waist. Like, what really matters? Is it what the scale says, or is it how you look, how you feel, how your clothes fit? Is your stomach flatter? Like, is that really what matters? So kind of like reframing mindset to focus on what actually matters, which is, you know, the inches, not the weight, the body composition, not the scale.
Something that Jonine had us do that I've been craving now. So she had us drinking a lot of water, and at one point we were drinking a lot of distilled water. Now I prefer distilled water.
Really?
And I drink it all day.
Wow.
Yeah, you've been crushing
all
water.
day. It's like, you would never think that week, like, I was drinking water before, but it wasn't to this level. Like, now it's like, I crave it. Like, even right now, I'm like, oh, I feel like I need some water. Like, it's like your body just wants it. And for me, the distilled water, it has a very crisp and fresh taste. So I prefer it more now than anything before. It's crazy to me.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's good. I mean, usually I hear it a lot when people start actually drinking the water that their body is supposed to get. They start, like, it's like when they don't drink it anymore, it's like something's missing.
Yeah. And then, like, I felt like with the water, at first, it was like, it wasn't torture, but at first, you know, you have to get used to it. Because, you know, like, you know, after you didn't, like, program yourself to do the wrong things, like drinking the sodas and drinking juice. And then we always tell ourselves, it's 100% juice, right? So, but then after a while, once you take it out, it's like, it's so sweet that you don't really need, like, even with coffee, I don't really need to add really anything to it. It tastes almost sweet by itself because you can start tasting those very hints that they put in there to make it somewhat sweet. So you don't need the overkill of sweetness in there. And I think it makes your tongue more appreciative of sweet. So then you don't need like to go out and just eat like a bunch of junk. So it's helpful there after a while. Once you just get used to water, it's like, yeah, just give me some water. But something else I noticed about the scale. So we were in a competition, and I know they put a lot of focus on like weight loss. But then you always wonder like, how sustainable is that, right? Because, you know, it's one thing to be to be skinny, or to be light on the scale, but then it's like, do you like the body composition?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when most people are looking at like the IG models, or when they think about what they want to look like, at the end of the day, people want muscle tone. Women want lifted booties, right? That takes muscle definition and building. They want nice looking backs, right? That takes muscle definition and building. And so many people are afraid, like, oh, I lift weights, I'm gonna get so big.
Yeah,
but
women were saying, a lot of the ladies were saying that.
But I don't think people realize, like, you have to work at getting huge like that. When you start looking at like the freaks of the, I shouldn't say like a freak, but these guys, like the CT Fletchers and all them, when they get big like that, they took stuff, they ate stuff abnormally to get that big. Mm-hmm. The average body, if you lift weights, you're not going to get big. You're just going to probably get lean, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely put on muscle, especially if you're new to lifting. You can put on muscle pretty quickly, but yeah, you have to try in order to, like, women say that, like, I don't want to look bulky. Like, you literally have to try. If you're doing just all natural, if you're just lifting and eating, like, you really have to try really hard, and it takes years and years and years to develop the type of muscularity that women are concerned about developing. Like, it's just not going to happen because, you went and lifted weights 3 times a week. Like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you have to put, multiple years, 3-4 years to get that big. Like, even when you look at these strongman competitions and all that, these guys are at their youngest are typically in their 30s, like late 30s. Mm-hmm. Most of them that I see are typically like in their 40s and 50s because it took like that much of a lifetime to get that big and that strong. Yeah. And people just think, oh, I'm going to lift these little 25-pound weights and I'm going to look so big and I'm not being able to fit back. No, it's not going to happen, The biggest
bodybuilders and the biggest women, female bodybuilders, women's physique people, the ones that win, they are in their 30s, and they've been lifting since they've been like 16, 17, 18 years old. That comes with a lot of years of lifting. Many of them, take performance enhancing substances, and a lot of dedication to, like, just eating and training specifically for that particular thing. Mm-hmm. You are not going to lift, ladies. You're not going to lift for a year and then be like, looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not going to happen. Sorry. You can just, be okay.
Just relax.
Yeah,
like, it's not gonna be all that.
Something that I was like surprised by was that you had me do the stair climber consistently. Mm-hmm. I didn't run. I was surprised by that. And I was surprised at, no matter how clean you eat, yeah, your stomach does, the size decreases, but you're not going to, like, get abs or flat stomach overnight. It's like, it takes a lot of work to get abs and a flat stomach unless you're like a freak of nature. So I'm curious, can you speak to the audience kind of about, like, why you, in me particular, why you had me do stair climber over running, and, like, kind of like the difficulty it is to actually get abs and maintain them.
Yeah, so I'll start with the abs part first. So for most people, it takes a very small body fat percentage in order to have viewable abs, like where you can actually see the definition in between each one. For women, it's even more difficult because our bodies don't want our body fat to be that low, because it wants us to be at a place where we can have kids. And if you're below like 18%, then it's really hard to conceive, so low as a body fat. So your body kind of works against that. When you see women that have a really, like defined abs, really small waist, really big butt or hips, one of 2 things are happening. Number one, they're genetically just predisposed to carrying most of their body fat in their lower half and not very much here. Or number 2, they might have had surgical procedures done. But generally speaking, most of us, at a normal, healthy, and fit body fat percentage that all of us, have up here, you're not going to see visible abs just, on a regular, unless you're just trying really hard in order to get them, and you diet for a long period of time. So like for me, like my abs aren't viewable until I'm like around 12% body fat.
Oh, wow.
Which is really low. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My stomach is never like, fat or anything like that. Like I don't never have a beer belly, but it's always flat, but you don't see the definition until mine is really low. So some people can be higher than that, depending on where they carry most of their weight. As far as the stair climber for Katrina, I felt like it was best for her because of her body composition. Like Katrina's very muscular naturally, And I wanted to preserve that, and the stair climber is really good for that because not only are you burning body fat because it's aerobic exercise, but there is some strength component to it as well. So you can accomplish both the things at one time. Whereas running is more of a catabolic exercise, meaning that it takes away, or it can kind of like reduce your muscle mass sometimes if you do it for long periods of time. So I didn't want that to happen.
Hence why a lot of those runners, especially like the marathon runners, they're like typically like small frame people.
Very lean.
And I think a lot of people like running because they lose weight. But then you notice, what I've noticed personally is like people who've only lost weight due to running, and even myself, because I've gone through phases where I had lost weight, but the only thing I was doing was running. Is that the second you stop running, and even if your diet is decent, it's like you put on so much weight. Like all that weight you lost running, you put on so fast because it's like you burnt muscle in the process. And I've noticed that. So like I've been smaller. It's funny, like when I was in the military, I was like weighing around 185, 190. These days, and back then I was like a 34 waist, 33, 34 waist. Right now, I'm the same way. I'm a 33, 34 waist, but I weigh like around 215, 218, right? But I like the way I look now more than I did then, because back then I was almost, I won't say skinny fat, because I was strong, but it's not nearly as strong as I am now and as capable, So yeah, there is definitely a difference in just doing like just cardio versus like, I noticed the weightlifting has benefited me quite a bit.
Yeah, and it definitely helps you keep your weight off longer. Yeah.
So we got some questions here. Yeah, and guys, if y'all watching, feel free to ask questions. This is an interactive show, so you can do that. Brent had a good question. He said, "Is jumping rope good exercise?"
Yeah, I think so. We would consider it high intensity, usually interval training, because most people don't jump rope for like 20 minutes straight. Like usually you do it for about 60 seconds, you rest, you do about 60 more seconds, and you rest. That's really good metabolically, stimulates your metabolism and triggers fat loss. So yeah, that's great.
But that's something that you would probably want to mix in with.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it along with your strength training or lifting. I know some people, and I even do this to some of my competitors, like I'll have them, bust out their bench press, 10 reps, and then hop off the bench and do some jump ropes for 30 seconds, and then, rest, and then repeat. So yeah, you can mix it in, or you can do it after a workout or whatever, however you want to mix it. It's pretty good. All
right, that's a good question. That answered that question. If you have any other questions, feel free to type them in the chat. We'll see them, and we'll let Jonine answer. Yeah, for sure. That almost. I wanted to talk about thick fit, right? Because so like we kind of address skinny fat, but we know the other side of the scale is thick fit. So we know we have a lot of people out there, like, and I know body shaming is like a thing we ain't supposed to do, right? Or because that's what people try to say it is. But like thick fit, is there such thing as thick fit, or is there just a point where it's like, I get it, your curves may be appealing in some ways, or society may be celebrating a certain size, but is it at a certain point where it's like, yeah, but that's still not healthy for the heart or for your intestinal organs, things like that we should consider?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess you could be thick fit. I guess it depends on what your definition of that is, but generally speaking, being over a certain body fat percentage predisposes you to health issues. So that's I mean, controversial but true. Like, you can't call yourself healthy if your body fat percentage is out of control. Like, you just can't, because just being over a certain percentage makes you at high risk for disease, like, cancer, like type 2 diabetes, like metabolic syndrome, like hypertension, like heart disease, so even if you got your labs done and you're like, yeah, I'm 50% body fat, but I don't have any of these laboratory markers that are out of normal range, still you're at higher risk for developing them, and probably very soon. So 30% for women. Some people say 33%. It kind of depends on your resource. 20% for men is what I put on, but depending on your resource, some might say 24 to 25. But if you're over that, you need to work on getting that down. Body composition is what's most important for me. I don't care about your weight or BMI. That's useless. But if you can find out your body fat percentage and work on getting that at a healthy level, I think that's going to be in your best interest.
And what is the healthy level for men and women for body fat percentage?
Girl, I just said that. You ain't hear me.
She literally just said.
Oh, I missed all of it. Sorry, I missed all the percentage range. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like she literally just said
Sorry.
it. So she said 20% for men, and for women 30%, maybe up to 33%, depending on where you get your source. I think you said for men 20%, but up to 24%, depending on where you get your source.
Your source,
meaning like
some
what doctor,
say,
what fitness, whatever.
Yeah, I think like some of them will say 30, some will say 33. I actually have a lower standard for my people, so I usually say 27% for women. I cap it at 20 for men, but I like them to stay around 18.
Got it. Well, that's what I'm shooting for. Mamie has a good question. She said, "What is a good exercise for a diabetic?"
Well, that's really a tough question because I don't know, background information. But generally speaking, strength training exercise is really good if you have diabetes because it helps prevent insulin resistance. Muscle contraction actually helps shuttle glucose into the muscle. So instead of it going around in the bloodstream, which is what causes type 2 diabetes, your muscles will utilize that glucose that may just otherwise be hanging around. So, if I had to give a general answer, I would say that. But again, that would depend on each individual case.
All right. So, and I'll probably answer some more offline on that too, right? But that's good to know. Also, I'm not gonna give nobody away the secret, so I'm not gonna tell them that. But I would say with us, I'll say this, and then we'll move on to the next topic. But I will say this: I know firsthand your workout program works. I thought you was half crazy sometimes with some of the workouts you had us doing. But one thing I like, I think it's because you're studied and because you understand the information. And I like even the answer you gave to the diabetes, which is you would have to know more about the individual. I think that's important because, like, in a world where everybody has a one-size-fits-all routine, I mean, we've seen it with like some of the videos. Oh, if you do this, you're gonna lose weight. You do this, oh, you take this diet. And the thing is, your health is very specific to the individuals. Right? Actually, yeah, your health is very specific to the individual, so I think it's important to break it down on the individual basis. Before I get into some things recently with me and Katrina, Brian Majors had a good question. He said, muscle mass versus weight gain.
I'm not sure what the question is.
So I'm guessing, and Brian, let me know if I'm repeating this the right way, especially coming from a guy. Because like some people will say, oh man, I didn't get bigger on the scale. Because like when guys are trying to get muscle, they'll be like, yeah, I was 185, man. I'm 205, man. I'm swole. Mm-hmm. But it's, how do you know what's real muscle gain versus what's weight gain?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way to track it is to get, a reliable body fat composition test done. Yeah, okay. He said that's right. So, like, you can go to, I don't know where he is, but there's some places that you can go and get them done for free. Like, I know in the Maryland area, there's a nutrition store called 5-Star Nutrition. They have an InBody scale there. InBody tests your body fat, muscle, lean mass, body water, all of that. They'll let you do it for free. You don't have to pay anything. But then there's some places where you have to pay for it. But that's probably the best way. The scales in your bathroom, not really that reliable. I always say like they're good for telling you if you're going up or down, but the number in and of itself is probably just some trash, like, probably not accurate.
Yeah, because I mean that makes sense, because I mean, okay, this kind of rolls us into our journey. So I know with me, before I started working out, interesting enough, I was actually about the weight I am right now. I was like around 215, maybe closer to 210, right? And when we first started working out, first we were doing the kickboxing. And the kickboxing is cool because it's got good muscle conditioning, right? And you do kind of build a little bit of lean mass. Not a severe amount, but it helps develop that lean muscle, right? And then when we started working out with you, literally January 1st, you had me lifting. And like you really broke it down into body groups and stuff specific for my needs. And I realized, like, at first, at one point, I ballooned up to like 226, right? And then I started working my way back down. but I was losing actual fat. And I think when it was all said and done for me, I think I gained like 10 pounds. I might have gained 9-10 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was a good amount.
And but at the same time, I lost fat. So Brian, I will say this, knowing firsthand with Jonine working with me, I saw my weight go up in the scale, but then my weight went down, but I am still much more muscular now. I could tell even by the way my lady responds to me, because she can't stop touching my pecs. She be like, ooh, boo, All right, let me stop. But no, you do notice a difference in the way your clothes feel. Even it's like when you're carrying muscle weight versus just weight, because the muscle is the strength that moves it around, I feel different. Like when I ran, I was there's this one route I ran, it was 2 weeks ago. I normally average 11-minute, 12-minute pace. I average a low 10-minute pace, almost a 9-minute mile pace. But I think that muscle strength that between the conditioning, you had me doing cardio, and then on top of that, just the muscle gain, I was able to attack heels different than I did when I was just small. I noticed my body's ability to when it got hard, it was I was able to charge through it. My body was able to do something different, and I charged through it. So I did personally notice a difference. Good. Just in my physical ability. So
yeah, I have a lot of marathoners that will get into strength training to improve their time for that reason. It does make you stronger, faster.
Yeah, and something that was really cool for the competition. So gotta shout out Jonine right here, right? Because this is a little praise report. So we did enter a competition at our gym. Right, and so they've done the local rounds already, and now the national rounds are there. So I think first place on the women's side, shout out to I think Sherry Porter. Was it Sherry? She lost 23 pounds though. Then shout out to one of our homegirls, Rachel. We actually was at brunch with Rachel earlier. She lost 12, and I saw a really big change in her. But I know she was doing some lifting too. And then there was another young lady. And Carol, right? Carol got third place. Katrina didn't place, but I think that's because this particular gym was really focused on weight loss. So these people had scale weight loss, you can see, versus they didn't really measure BMI and body fat percentage. Even with their taping, they kind of went by waist, thigh, and I think stomach or something like that. So it was hips, waist, and thigh. So I don't know how accurate that's going to be as far as telling the true story. And then before and after pictures, right? So, I'm going to be a little biased anyways. I'm glad my booty should have been up there, right? But like you said, Katrina gained all this muscle, lost all this fat. So on the scale, it's she only lost 5 pounds. But then you look at the 5 inches she lost around her waist, and it's a huge difference.
Her pictures. I mean, to me, I could tell a huge difference in her abdominal area.
Exactly, and I know I can tell the difference. And then those that watch the show, I've even heard them make comments oh wow, I can tell you guys are getting small. I can look at your face, things like that, right? Now, on the male side, though, your brother did win first place. I did get first place, y'all. I ain't never been an athlete except for the military. I did box a little bit, but I ain't never really been an athlete for real. I'm more or less a brainiac kind of guy. So to get first place, you know what I'm saying, feel kind of good. First place. I'm going to the national competition. We'll see what happened with those results. I feel I might give them boys out there in Texas and Colorado and them other locations some pressure, So, it does feel good. But I got first place, and then there was another guy, DJ, I think that got second, and then third was a guy who was a prior athlete. And I just don't think maybe before and afterwards, he probably didn't have that much to lose, possibly. But I do know what you put me through was well worth it. It feels good. You go through all of that. And I thought I fell off or something. That's all. You go through all of that, and then it's oh man, getting up in the morning sucks. It's doing all this, but it's man, when it's all said and done, to be man, I won. It feels great. Yeah,
I will admit it is to be on that level of fitness takes so much dedication. Because there were days I would literally be at the gym, and I'm just as soon as I would get done with the stair climber, I'll get off oh, Jesus. How much more? Because you're just tired, and you and I can only imagine having kids and maybe running a business or something. You have to really fitness, you have to really dedicate a solid time frame to focus on your health. Because if you don't, with the way that our economy and how things are set up in society, I feel like it's easy to just put it on the back burner.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things. Is like, you know, you don't have to work out that hard like we did, because obviously we were on like an accelerated program for accelerated reasons. You know, we're gonna be in Cozumel next month. But then at the same time, I would encourage people, like, listen, if you want legit help on your health, if you want it to be pointed towards you, if you want, like, not just quick results, but honestly lasting results, and a change in lifestyle may not always be comfortable, but you'll appreciate in the long run, invest in your health. Go to forwellness.com, talk to Jonine and her team. Like, they'll get you right. And I think it's really important because people don't realize that when you're not investing in your health, you're investing in the demise of your health, right? It's like, we never look at it like we're putting effort into becoming unhealthy. You get what I'm saying? Like, people don't consider that. It's like, when you choose not to take care of yourself, when you choose not to value your health, you're honestly making a conscious decision to be unhealthy. So, you know, yeah, the McDonald's might be good to eat, you know, if that's what you're into. I don't eat McDonald's no more.
I was going to say, one good question before closing out the health segment is, what are some of the worst foods you could eat?
I think it depends on the person. I mean, even like, so I was talking to a client of mine the other day, and I was like, you know, it's so important to like see legit people, like people who actually know what they're talking about, because like, it's so much stuff out here. So, for example, the whole sea moss thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's like the new.
Everybody's
like,
taking sea moss.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the apple cider vinegar was last year, you know, and the kale was the year before that, and the flaxseed was the year. Every year it's a thing, right?
I remember because one year it was even cranberry or something like mid pills or something like that.
Goji berries, and like every year is something, like some new thing. But this particular lady had a sensitivity, or it's similar to an allergy, but not the same, right? To kelp. And she was asking me about sea moss and saying that she was taking these like sea moss supplements, or, you know, whatever, however it comes. And I was like, but girl, don't you know that sea moss and kelp, like, they come from the same place? Like, if you're sensitive to one, you're probably. So I say that to say, like, you know, even good things, like what you think might be good, could be bad for you. Like ginger, that's something that most people consider to be healthy, reduces inflammation. True. Well, I have a sensitivity to ginger. When I have ginger, my face explodes, my joints hurt, you know, like, but ginger is great for some people, but not for me. So, you know, that said, try to avoid fried foods, y'all, deep fried foods, and try to avoid sugar like the plague if you can. Not natural sugar that's found in fruit, but like, you know, added sugar like that you would find in cakes, cookies, pies, and candies. Those are probably going to be like the worst things that you could eat for your health.
I think one of the smartest decisions we made from this is we're not actively like really buying sweets anymore. Like, we decided, like, we'll try to eat. If we do, we'll try to. I mean, we'll make an exception for some brown butter chocolate chip cookies from Whole Foods, but only on occasion, like the weekend. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll order, you know, we'll get some of those, like a pack of 4. We're not going to go crazy and get like a pack of 12, right? But then we decided, like, you know, we're not going to bring sodas in the house anymore. We're not going to bring juice in the house anymore. If we have soda, if we have juice, we wait till we go out to eat and eat that. And then generally for like sweets, for the most part, if we do, when we go out to have our cheat meal or something, we'll have sweets with that meal versus having it in the house. And then, you know, you're tempted to eat the chips, you're tempted to eat this, you're tempted to eat that. So we just try to keep it out. And our refrigerator looks bare outside of whatever the meal prep is, basically. But since it's not there to sneak and cheat on, we're not eating it. So that, I think us meal prepping kind of got us in the habit of not buying some of the junk we had in the house. And then when you just get hungry, or you just have an oral fixation, more or less, you go eat the junk. And, you know, it's kind of like, man, you know? So, yeah, definitely with that.
Great practice.
Also, before we let out, we got about 12 minutes left. Something I wanted to talk about briefly here. I wanted to address this Asian hate, some of the things that happened in Atlanta. So, to give you guys some background, for those that may not be aware, there was a young man, Robert Long, 21-year-old white male, the most recent administrator of hate that we're calling out today. just about a week ago, he went into 2 different Asian spas and shot up the place. I know he for sure hit 8. He killed 6 of them. I can't remember if he killed 8 or 8 were shot, but I do know 6 of the victims were Asian women, right? And, they've been really hush-hush on the perpetrator, which I can't stand. And I hate that we even have to address this or talk about it, because this seems like a common thread. A black man, and let's just call it what it is, a black man or a black woman, i.e. Sandra Bland, i.e. Trayvon Martin, and countless other names, and I'm getting tired of having to go through this whole list, right? They get killed, and the first thing they're trying to do is find a way to say there was something wrong. Right? Sandra Bland, when she was being a loudmouth, and black women are angry. What? She was killed unjustly. She was found hung, and y'all killed her. Trayvon Martin, well, there's a picture of him holding up his middle finger. You know what I'm saying? Looked like a thug to me. Now, this guy goes, okay, he did kill 8. Thank you, Brent. He killed 8. 6 of them were Asian. He kills 8 people. Now, we're not talking about the guy who was innocently walking with Skittles and an Arizona iced tea, or somebody who walked away from some cops, or someone who was in a Walmart with a toy gun, or someone who was just sitting in their car in a regular traffic stop, right? People who were already handcuffed and still got killed, right? We're not talking about somebody who was a victim. We're talking about a perpetrator of hate, someone who has created 8 victims. In some of these cases, 21 victims, 24 victims, 10 victims, schools, places where people didn't expect to get killed at their job, right? He kills them. The first thing I want to say about him is, he was a young man in his church. What happened is, in college, he was taking classes. He started going through changes. He started going to Asian massage parlors. This is why he attacked the Asian spas. He was going to massage parlors, I guess one of those situations of what they always say, or I think it's more of an urban legend that, you go there, you get the massage, and you get the happy ending. So the claim was he was going there and he was taking advantage of services like that. His girlfriend broke up with him. He had a falling out with his parents. Oh gosh, you're 21 years old. And they kicked him out. He had a bad day. He was going through a lot. Well, how about countless black men that get harassed by cops, who have financial disparities? If you grow up in the hood, all these different things that are systematically pushed on blacks, redlining, lack of access to wealth, in countless situations. You don't think that some brothers are having a bad day? You don't think a black man is having a bad day when they got to go into a liquor store and steal bread? That's somebody who's hungry. They're not even trying to harm somebody. And I get it, a crime's a crime. But there's a big difference, and there's no bias here. But when people are doing something because they're hungry, not running around and killing people, because we demonize those folks the same way, whether they're black or white. But you got somebody who's minding their own business, or let's say it's somebody who does perpetrate a crime because they're hungry. They steal some bread. They steal some food. Well, where was I care to say where they were hungry, they were growing up in the hood, they were food, they grew up in the food desert, and oh, poor guy. No, they don't say that. They be like, you did the crime, serve the time. You black animal. That's what they say about us. But when the white boy, yet again, kills a bunch of innocent people, no different than Dylan Roof shooting up the AME church, we want to find ways to understand, well, what's going on in this little white boy's mind that he had to go kill people? He killed people, folks. And I get it. We want to focus on the Asian community. And don't get me wrong, the Asian community is going through things, but Hispanics are, Muslims are, blacks are. At the end of the day, I could point it to one central issue: white hate, white privilege. That's the real problem. Y'all got so much time in your hands. You got time to go kill a bunch of innocent people in a spa because you can't deal with your life. But any of us know right here on this panel that, and all those you guys watching at home, that black folks get no sympathy to be even a victim. And they know it is broadcast news. I mean, that's why it was such a big deal when Kamala Harris became vice president. That's why it was such a big deal when Barack became president. And that's why it's still a big deal when someone like Beyonce, arguably one of the biggest artists ever, finally hits a milestone achievement of having the most Grammys for any singer or any woman ever, right? So you know that we're at a disadvantage. That's why you celebrate us when we do get a chance to be celebrated. But you don't call a thing a thing. I don't know. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts.
think you said everything.
Oh, my bad.
You said everything. There's nothing else to say about it. You know, I have seen a lot of Black people standing in solidarity with the Asian community, giving them support, letting them know, like, we're here. There's a couple of organizations that are taking donations. They were saying, in general, Asian hate has gone up since the pandemic because of the rhetoric and the belief that possibly they were the cause of the pandemic, which we know that is not true. So I would just say, in general, when it comes to being a minority, you've got to have some serious pride in yourself, because I think that with the way society, at least our society, is structured, it will beat you down so much that you will start to almost hate who you are, because you feel like who I am represents that of someone who's at a disadvantage. So I feel like if you have time with your kids and your family, start talking about the positives about being Black, like why you love your Black hair, why you love Black history, why you love Black culture. I think having a sense of pride is going to help you be able to combat negative rhetoric against the Black culture, or even negative rhetoric against the Asian culture, but also combat white supremacy and white hate when you have a sense of pride of who you are. Because then you can say that's not accurate. Actually, history tells us that, yada, yada, yada. Because for a long time, to give you a stat, I actually believe when they were saying, you know, Black men were like deadbeat dads. Come to find out, Black men are more involved with their kids than any other demographic. I had no idea. Because the rhetoric what's told in the media is that Black fathers are not involved. So anyway, just take the time to really celebrate yourself. Because at the end of the day, there's only one you. And you only have one life to live, and God created you for a special purpose. So, you know, give yourself the joy that you need to make it day to day versus looking for it outside the home.
Totally agree.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. So let me read some comments on the subject too. Brent said, when Black people get killed, the media villainizes them. Facts. When white folks do the killing, they always try to figure out what went wrong. Brent said, no sympathy for us whatsoever. And then Brian was just saying, hit the nail on the head, right? So this is something that we're all feeling and we understand. And I mean, that's the importance of a show like this, a platform, to really get out that conversation, because liberal media has their agenda, right? To push across whatever they're after. And then conservative media has their agenda. But sometimes our thought processes might lie somewhere in between, or they may not align to an agenda. This is just getting out our conversations. And we need the ability to have these kind of conversations. I'm going to go into some shout outs, and I'll cover some Grammy stuff here. I kind of mentioned Beyonce. So shout out to her. She's the most winning singer and woman with Grammys, but she's tied with Quincy Jones still at 28. But the most Grammy wins is 31, and it's for a classical music conductor, George Solti. So wanted to bring that out because there's a lot of people like, yeah, you know, don't get me wrong, I get it, Queen Beyonce, but you got to know there's a reason why they said
the most decorated artist of our time.
Yeah. So you know, just know the stats. She need to get 4 more so she could be the most winning of all time. So just putting that out there so people know the stats. Also, another cool stat is actually Jay-Z has actually been nominated more times than her. I think she's been nominated 38 times. He's been nominated 40 times, but I think Jay-Z only has 22 Grammy wins or 21, something like that, tied with Kanye West. But Beyonce does win more in the category when she gets it. So
I find it interesting that Kanye started out as Jay-Z's protege, and now it's like he's standing toe to toe. Like, what's up?
He is.
Yeah, he is in a lot of ways.
You have to give respect to that.
Also, I want to shout out Kanye West for being rich, but guys, listen, I gotta put I put this on the Nitty Gritty page earlier this week to break it down. Forbes is probably foremost the best place to understand wealth and money. Everybody was saying, oh, he's the richest man ever. No, he's the richest black man ever. He's not. The richest black man is actually I forgot which African country, but he's a businessman down there. He's worth like $6.1 billion. There was speculation that Kanye West could be worth 6.6. But currently, that's based on speculation on Yeezy sales and a Gap deal that he recently signed. But as of right now, he's worth right around $1.8 billion. Still the richest rapper alive, no doubt. Still very rich. If I woke up tomorrow with $1.8 billion, I can talk.
Said he's the richest African American black man.
African American black man. I would have to check on that. I'm not sure. No, he's not, because they said that whatchamacallit still has more money than him. That would be Bob Johnson. He's still the richest black man in America as it stands right now. Kanye West would be number 2, from what I understand. So shout out to the brother, but keep in mind that 6.6 billion number you guys heard, that was speculation based off potential earnings to come, right? And then also shout out to the Kick House Challenge. I was happy that I won. Special prayer to Mamie Altar. I know she's watching right now from the hospital, so y'all keep Mother Mamie in prayer.
Your
but
mama.
my mama, but she's gonna be good because that's why she's on the show, y'all. Typing away, involved. She's strong, so she doesn't really need people's sympathy, but she always appreciates prayer because she's definitely a God-fearing woman. Ain't no doubt about that. So shout out to Mamie and Herman, where you guys are. We love you both. And I'm gonna play a little outro music as we get ready to close out. Jonine, I know you're an Anderson .Paak fan, right?
I love Anderson .Paak.
So you know what? I was like, this is a bop anyways. So I'm like, let me go ahead and play this Leave the Door Open for my homie Jonine.
Okay.
I know you're excited about this album coming out.
So we're leaving the door open for Jonine to get more clients.
That's right. We're leaving the door open. Oh, I love that. Yes. Leaving the door open for Gene. Tell them where to find you again, Jonine.
You can find me at www.forwardwellness.com or at Forward Wellness on IG.
So y'all know where to find her. She's leaving the door open. Y'all go and get your help, all right? Mamie did say thank you. Brent said prayers up, Miss Altar. We appreciate that, Brent. I got shout out. Yeah, I didn't forget. Can you go ahead and shout that one out, though?
Okay. Shout out to the McKinneys. They just had their first baby. Their daughter didn't say why she was born. Was that Saturday? Was that Friday?
Was it Friday? I thought it was Friday.
Friday morning.
Yep. Yeah, so shout out to the McKinneys.
Lana and Chris.
Yeah, they're regulars on the show. They're not with us today, but we totally understand. You know, y'all on. Welcome to the world of being parents, right? Also, want to do some birthday shout outs. Shout out to Noreen Irizarry Lutz. That's actually my 2nd grade teacher. And she's still friends with the family. She was the first person to say I was smart. Besides my mama and them. But as far as like scholastically in school.
How did you remember that?
No, what it is, quick story. They thought I was slow because I had a speech impediment. So literally, kindergarten and 1st grade, they thought I was behind. But then, shout out to Miss Irizarry. She was the first person to be like, no, actually, I think your son is advanced. He just has like a speech impediment, but his understanding is there. So shout you out because after that, I was in advanced classes and all of that. She's the first person to recognize the gift, you know. So hey, all these other things became possible. So special birthday to you. Shout out to Tony Stone. Shout out to Keisha Massey. Shout out to Adrian Johns. They all family cousins. Shout out to Julio Roque. And shout out to Simone Baptiste. Yeah.
Shout out to my mama.
Yes.
What's your mama's birthday?
March 17th.
Oh, so she decided. Yeah, so shout out to Mama Cookie.
Yes, Mama Cookie. The original Cookie.
Yeah. That Cookie Lyons, y'all. You know what I'm saying? What's her last name? Smith. Cookie Smith. Right? The real Cookie.
I mean, her real name is Iris.
Iris.
But everybody, like, if you close to her, I've never known her, know anybody call her Iris. I know people call her Cookie.
So, look, man, we thank all you guys for being on the show. Don't forget, we'll be going live this way. So if you enjoyed the experience for you guys watching Facebook and YouTube, look forward to more of that. We got some more soapboxes coming out. We got some new content. Music Mondays will be dropping in May. So if you guys like music and you want to kind of know like what we're listening to, because we're into music and the Nitty Gritty Show, check out Music Mondays. That'll be some small content we're putting out. You guys know where to find for wellness. Don't forget squadlocker.com. www.squadlocker.com. Search The Nitty Gritty Show. Buy some merch. Help us out. If you like the program, that helps fund all this equipment and all these subscriptions to make this thing happen. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. If you don't know who we're listening to, this is the mega group Silk Sonic, right? Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Some of our favorites. Can't wait for that Silk Sonic album to come out. But look, thank you guys for joining us today. We appreciate you. We love you. It's the Nitty Gritty Show, and we out. It's your boy, Jay DaCosta.
Girl, Cat.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty. Jolene, thank you for joining us
You're
again.
welcome. My
We
pleasure.
really appreciate it. We out of here, y'all. Y'all have a blessed one.